This little video is all about generous giving. It is not about we're really struggling, so can you give us a load more money? In fact, we already have lots of generous giving and we have lots of financial resource throughout the diocese. But because we are driven by vision and mission and love, and because we are a generous diocese, we keep doing loads of work and ministry for lots of people. We preach the gospel, we produce prayer and worship, we run food kitchens and hot meal places, we work for children and with children in school, all sorts of things. And it's because we do so much for so many that we need a bit more generous giving. So I'm here at St Richard's Church, Seacroft. It's a wonderful example of a great, heroic, ministering, visionary church at the heart of a large and very needy community. They are doing great work, but they need a bit of extra generous giving support from the rest of us so they can keep doing it. St Richard's has got a brand new vicar. She's called Anne Russell and she's been here 6 months. So Anne, could you just begin by telling us something about this wonderful parish?
Oh, Seacroft is amazing. Built in the 50s, post-war, homes for heroes, 30,000 estate with 5 churches on it. Now we've got 3 churches. It's an area of incredible need, but also incredible resilience.
Now then, Anne, what about St Richard's and generous giving?
Well, if you look on the figures, Seacroft Parish and St Richard's Church here is one of probably the weakest givers to the Diocese of Leeds. But we are determined through the resurrection of this church and the renewal of its people that we will be paying our budget in the next few years. In fact, we've set a balanced budget for this year and we're looking to every way, not from the congregation particularly, but just imaginative and creative ways to attract funding for the church, to pay our way, because we're quite a proud bunch. And we know that everybody in our diocese has to give what they can, as well as take what they need.
And you've talked about renewal and resurrection of this church. Could you just tell us a little bit about what's already going on here?
Well, there's loads of good things happening, a real strong commitment of service to the community. So we have one of the biggest food banks and larders in the Leeds Diocese, and we do tea on toast free every week, and we've just started a new place of welcome on a Thursday to attract people who've been in isolation, but also people who just haven't got any money to pay for a hot meal or haven't got facilities at home. And we've also got this amazing youth service run by our youth evangelist Neil Arbard, which attracts loads of young people, often from tremendously difficult backgrounds, on a Friday night, and that's going great guns.
And what about Sundays, Anne?
Sundays, well, we're quite small, but I'm from a rural background and so I'm used to small congregations, but brilliant congregations. We've got a great congregation and we're seeing real signs of hope. We had a few more people, new people on Sunday, and they've just got great messages to tell, great stories to tell, amazing, amazing. So it was a great privilege, yeah.
Let's be honest, money, cash, it's a pretty sensitive subject. Well, it is for most of us, and we like to sort of keep our cards close to our chest, don't we? I'm actually amazed how much the Bible talks about earning money, spending money, keeping money, giving money. Just let me give you a couple of examples. I love these stories. They're both of generous giving. In the middle of the wilderness, Moses is leading the people, and God says to Moses, I want you to build a great tabernacle with great curtains dyed in purple and crimson and blue and gold this and copper covered that and It's an expensive plan. But God doesn't actually give Moses the money. Well, not directly. What happens is that God's people, who were so excited at the prospect of having this great tabernacle, the Bible says they gave the money. They gave generously. They were giving to God. They were giving to their tabernacle. They were giving to their people. They were giving to their families and kids. It's a great example of what happens when God's people give generously. At the complete other end of the spectrum, because that's like a big giving story, is that beloved, beautiful story that Jesus tells of a poor widow on her way into the temple to say her prayers, to meet with God, and Jesus shares, she takes out these 2 coins, maybe it's all she's got left, and she puts them in the great big giving bowl. These are 2 examples of generous, not arm up the back, but generous, open-hearted giving to the work of God and to his world. Yes, so in the name of honest transparency, I thought I'd say a couple of things from my own life about generous giving. Actually, I've never had a problem with generous giving. I've been good at it all my life. The trouble was, all the generous giving went to me. It was spending my money all the time on the things that I want. This was fine until I married this amazing woman, and she was, and still is, just an open-hearted, generous giver. Well, this caused quite a few tensions in our early years. But gradually, I saw in her generosity something that she was open to God and open to other people, and there was a joy about it all. So it's a story of me being taught by example by my wife about generous giving. And then the second story is about me as a vicar going to a church and knowing that one day I needed to talk to this church about generous giving. And you know, I've always felt uncomfortable at this. I've always thought, oh, they'll think I'm banging on about money, which actually I never did. And so I put it off and off and off. And then what I found, when I started to talk to my church about generous giving, people responded. It was the same truthful teaching from the scriptures. It was the same inspirational stories. We've just been thinking about a couple of them. And it was about saying to people, listen, God's work, God's vision, God's church, we need to give to it. And people responded. And I've always tried to make a point ever since in different churches of teaching people not just we need to give, but the joy and the freedom of giving. We give generously because we want to build the kingdom. And when we give generously, we ourselves live the kingdom. Thank you.